This is my all-purpose suit.
Greg, did you get my email?
Yeah, I did, and it fit me to a T.
I was telling everybody that I'm safe,
Mayor, are you ready?
but you better not be
I'm
praying.
ready. Thank you. Just go ahead and point your finger at me and tell me when to go.
Go ahead.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, San Ramon residents, to our city council meeting of April 28th, 2020. Madam Clerk.
Prior to roll call, the city attorney would like to make an announcement regarding the teleconferencing of this meeting.
Good evening, everyone. Prior to roll call, I would like to make clear for the record of this meeting, and it should be reflected in the minutes, that the governor has issued executive orders relaxing the requirements pertaining to remote meetings under the Brown Act. To facilitate social distancing and slow the spread of the coronavirus pandemic, the executive orders authorize state and local legislative bodies, including this council, to hold meetings by teleconference more easily. The procedures adopted for this meeting have been established to meet or exceed the standards in the order. For more information, please refer to Governor Gavin Newsom's Executive Order N25-20. Madam Clerk, it would now be appropriate for you to conduct roll call, after which I would ask the mayor to recognize me in order to confirm certain matters for the record.
Thank you, Martin.
Councilmember Hudson,
Here,
Councilmember Alone,
Here.
Councilmember Perkins,
here.
Vice Mayor Zafar,
Here.
and Mayor Clarkson.
Here. Martin, I recognize you again.
Thank you. I now would like to verify three things. First, that all members of the council can hear me well. Second, that all members of the council have been able to hear all previous speakers, including the roll call. And third, each council member believes based on facial or voice recognition that all persons representing themselves to be a council member are in fact council members. If that is the case, please indicate by raising your hands.
Yep.
And finally, I would like to advise the mayor and the council members and the city clerk that any votes taken during this proceeding must be taken by roll call. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Christina.
Item 2, Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm going to ask this time if Scott Perkins, if you could lead us all in the pledge by yourself. We have a flag waving. Go ahead.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation,
God, indivisible, with
Indivisible.
and justice for all.
all.
liberty-
That's your friend, Scott.
We're used to doing it all together.
Yes, we
Thank
are.
you, Scott. Don't worry, I'm going to rotate between the other people on
Oh,
the council
Like
next time.
a Catholic trying to do the creed on Sunday by himself.
Oh, God, yes. Madam Clerk.
Item 3 announcements, 3.1 changes and additions to the agenda. We have none this evening. Item 3.2, if you'd like to speak under public comment or regarding an agenda item, please click the raise your hand button on your computer or *9 on your telephone to request to speak when public comment is being taken on the agenda item. You will have up to 3 minutes to speak. You will be then remuted after the 3 minutes. Item 3.3, boards, committee, and commission meetings. Most meetings have been canceled for the month of May. However, please check the city's website for any upcoming meetings. And item 4, public comment.
Items for public comment are those that are not on the agenda. We encourage residents to go ahead and to indicate by raising your hand or to our clerk that you would like to speak during the 3 minutes. We ask that you keep your comments 3 minutes or less, as she had mentioned. Christina, do we have anybody who wishes to speak at public comment?
I do have one person raising their hand at this time, and I do also have a written comment that has been submitted to the clerk's office.
Great.
I'll go ahead and start with the written comment, and then we'll move to those that are in attendance. So the public comment has been received by Joyce Carr. Good evening, City Council. It appears that the coronavirus with the resulting social distancing is going to be a part of our lives for some time. And it would appear that a return to normal for council meetings in the chambers at City Hall are not likely going to happen in at least the near term. I and my husband, Greg Carr, strongly support a policy of the City Council to delay any topic not absolutely time critical, but potentially controversial and clearly of concern and significance to the citizens. With the current crisis limiting full and active public participation, it is important the city do everything feasible to schedule such items to a time that maximizes public involvement. Hopefully there may be some relief this summer where city council meetings can be held at the council chambers and can again include the public with proper social safeguards. Again, there will no doubt be future issues and items come up that are very important to San Ramon citizens. Our citizens deserve the basic right to fully express their concerns in a public forum. Thank you, Joyce Carr. So we'll go ahead. I still have one person requesting to speak. And it's Patty Hoyt. Patty, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Just took me a minute. Hi, I'm Patty Hoyt. I work at Discovery Counseling Center and I coordinate ADAPT San Ramon Valley, which is a coalition that works in the community to reduce underage drinking, marijuana use, and prescription drug abuse. And every April since 2013, I've come before the council to accept a proclamation recognizing April as Alcohol Awareness Month. And for obvious reason, I did not request that proclamation this year. However, preventing alcohol and other drug use amongst our teens is still a priority, and I wanted to take this opportunity to talk to the community. So with the pandemic requiring physical distancing and shelter in place, now is a good time for parents to talk to their children about alcohol and other drugs. We're all at home. Parents play a key role in helping children develop healthy attitudes towards alcohol consumption. When parents have clear expectations and explain their reasoning, young people are more likely to delay the onset of alcohol use. And research shows that protecting the developing adolescent brain from early alcohol use decreases the risk of alcohol dependence later in life. During times of crises, alcohol use in the general population tends to rise due to feelings of fear and the nature of isolation. Did you know that alcohol beverage sales shot up 55% in the third week of March compared to a year ago? It's not a coincidence that that's when California, along with other states, ordered people to shelter in place. This means there's an abundance of alcohol at home. So how do we prevent underage drinking and substance use? The city of San Ramon has a social host ordinance to help deter underage drinking. This holds the adult host of a party accountable for gatherings that have alcohol available to youth. The consequences is a fine of up to $1,000 plus the cost of police services. Individually, you can automatically limit access and availability of alcohol, marijuana, prescription, and over-the-counter drugs in your home by taking certain precautions. First of all, lock it up. Consider locking up all your alcohol and other drugs so that they can't be accessed by children or their friends. Young people report they most often obtain alcohol from home. Know what you have in stock. It's important to know what's inside your medicine cabinet and liquor cabinet. If you notice something missing, ask questions. Dispose, properly dispose of unused and unwanted medications. You can take them to any CVS pharmacy currently. You used to could take them to police department, but unfortunately with this, the lobby's not open for that. And talk. I encourage parents to talk and have a conversation with their children about alcohol and other drugs. This is becoming an overused phrase, but it's appropriate. We are all in this together to prevent youth substance use. So thank you and be well.
Thank you, Patty. Madam Clerk.
It looks like that is all the requests to speak under public comment at this time.
Thank you.
Item 5, consent calendar.
Items on the consent calendar are deemed routine in nature, but anybody from the audience or from staff or a member of council can ask for an item to be pulled for discussion. Is there a motion?
I'll move items 5.1 to 5.4.
Second.
I saw Hudson say it briefly quick. So Hudson seconded. There's been moved. It's been seconded. Any other discussion on the consent calendar? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Hudson,
Aye.
Councilmember Alone,
Aye.
Councilmember Perkins,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Safar,
yes,
and Mayor Clarkson.
Aye.
Thank you. The consent calendar passed 5-0. Item 6, special presentations. Item 6.1, recognition of National Library Week, introduction by Parks and Community Services Director Kathy Hyman. Presentation by Dina Hollowood, Senior Community Library Manager.
Hello, Kathy.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I am pleased to introduce Dina Hollowood, our Senior Community Library Manager, to talk about National Library Week, and probably more specifically what our county library is doing right now during this health crisis to still provide library services. So let me hand it off to Dina Hollowood.
Hello, Dina.
There you go. Okay, can you,
We see you. We hear you.
okay. And there's the slides. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you, Mayor Clarkson, Kathy, council members for giving me the time to talk about how the library is serving the public while we are unable to open our doors. Originally, this slide, which promotes National Library Week, said, find your place at the library. It now says, find the library at your place. And I hope that in the upcoming slides, that's what I can show you, how we are trying to make that possible. Can you do the next slide? One way we're doing it is, if you don't have a card or your card's about to expire, there's no problem. You can get an e-card online that gives you access to all our online features, including ebooks. The expiration dates of any card that was going to expire have been extended till 2021. And we have the capability of creating student access cards with the help of the school districts so that every student can use their student ID card to access the library. Another thing that we offer is chat with library staff. So just like you would talk to a vendor, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, if you have any problems with accessing library, like your ebooks or anything, downloading, just chat with us on the library's website. What that is. Okay. As far as the ebooks and audiobooks go, we took the money that was originally for hard copy books, moved it over to e-materials so that we've been able to add 15,000 new titles of ebooks since we had to close. And I just want to mention the Harry Potter series. We have that in multiple languages. We have different platforms like Overdrive, Enki, which is for smaller publishers, Tumble Books, which is children's ebooks, and Skillsoft, which is information technology, it's certification and training. Okay, for our online resources, we have them for various ages and interests. A couple that I'd like to mention is under learning and homework help, Learning Express and Brain Fuse are particularly good for practice AP, SAT, and ACT testing. And under research, Ancestry.com, which used to only be available within the library, has been extended so you can do your genealogy searches from your home. Oh, the last one down there, sorry, was Canopy, and just so you can watch movies and documentaries. Thank you. We've also added on several online story time options. So every Tuesday and Thursday, we have new story times on Facebook, or you can access them through YouTube. There's some available from our website. And then the Youth Services Librarian, Miss Elaine, from San Ramon, has story times every week on our Facebook account. We also have online events. You can just go to our website and search for online events. They're happening all the time. So it's everything from yoga to ukulele lessons to story times, just all different things. Normally we have a summer reading program, and we are going to have that online this year, but we've added a spring into reading program right now. Basically, every time you read, you get a point, and then online there's challenges, and the challenges are just ways to keep kids interested and occupied. And at the end of that, they can enter a drawing to win an Xbox. We also have book lists that are being curated, and they're for all age groups and interests. And that's basically whenever you're saying, what should I read next? We're trying to give you some good ideas. So I hope these slides helped you find the library at your place until we can open our doors once again. Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
I have one. I'm sorry, Dave, go ahead. Oh, it's
I
Phil,
do,
I'm
Bill.
sorry.
Thanks. Dina, any thoughts about just the notion of when you can order books online and pick them up? Is there any sort of interim step that the library is thinking about, not having people mill around in the building, but to come in and pick up at the door? Anything like that that's being?
In fact, that was my question too. I hear that a lot. Thank you, Phil.
Okay, so yes, there's plans right now to, it's a phase thing. So basically, we're in phase 1 now where we're completely closed down. And phase 2 is where we start going into the library with staff and taking the book returns and making sure that they're not touched for 72 hours. So each day you get them so that when we give them back to patrons, they're in good use. That they've been decontaminated. The third phase, the one I think you're interested in, is we will allow pickup of holds at the door. So they're still talking about that, but you might call and say, I'm ready to pick up my holds. And so we put them in a bag and we check them out to you, and then we'll meet you at the door. So you wouldn't be allowed in the library at that phase, but you could still get your holds. And then in phase 4, we let people in the library, but with some restrictions, not as many people at a certain table, stuff like that, distancing.
Thank you. It's good news.
Thank you very much.
I
Any other
can't
questions?
Yeah.
I don't see any hands, Ray. Well,
Yeah.
Scott, do you have a question?
Yes. Is it possible for you to provide that slide deck to city staff for distribution, or to put it on the city website or something like that? Can you, or give staff access to a link so that slide deck is available?
So, Brad has the slides. I think I would have to then show it to Nancy Kreiser to make sure she doesn't have any problems with it. She didn't look at it. But yeah, I think that'd be good. If you don't mind that, I'd be glad to do that.
Oh, give do whatever approval process you need, but I would like to make that slide deck available so that people can understand a little bit more of what they can get from their library at this time.
And
Thanks,
Sabina
Scott.
has her hand. Sabina has her hand up. I think Kathy wants to jump in for a second.
Oh, I was just going to confirm that, yeah, we do have the slide deck and we'll be able to do that, no problem.
Thank you, Kathy. Sabina.
Hi, Dana. Thank you so much for the presentation. So the question I had was, I know we were doing some jazz series at the library. Is that part of the online stuff as well, or something that you said there's some storybook time and some activities going on? Is jazz part of that as well, or?
No, you might have seen jazz on one of the slides, and that jazz was more not related to what we do at San Ramon Library. So those fall jazz programs are run by the foundation, and we'll have to get a meeting with them to find out what's possible there. Certainly we could try to do something online, but I don't know whether we'd get the same audience interest.
Thank you.
Dina, thank you very much. Appreciate you doing that.
Thank
for
you.
us. Thank you, Kathy. Madam Clerk.
Item 7, deferred consent items. We have none this evening. Item 8, adoption of ordinances. 8.1, Ordinance 500, repealing and replacing Section A7-6, Public Works Contracts of Chapter I, or Chapter 1, Contract Authority of Division A7, Contract and Procurement Authority of Title A of the San Ramon Municipal Code.
Thank you. Who's making the, we just make a motion on this, Martin, and we don't have public comment, correct?
That is correct. You may reopen the public hearing if you find that appropriate, but you don't need to. And as you might recall, this is a straightforward ordinance
Yes.
giving the city manager authority to reject bids on a city public project.
I asked
So
that
with this-
question. I asked that question so the public understands the process. Thank you.
Thank
Is there a
you.
motion?
You know, first of all, you're going to open it and then close it, or you just want the motion?
I'm looking for a motion either
I'll
way.
move adoption of ordinance 500, repealing and replacing section A7-6 of chapter 1, division A7 of title A of the San Ramon Municipal Code.
And Mr. Mayor, can we include in that motion waiving of the second reading, please?
Yeah, we can waive the reading too.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll
Sabina,
second.
who seconded that?
Yes, I did.
Sabina, second. Do you accept that change, Sabina?
I do.
Okay, just want to make sure I was clear on that. I didn't hear a call for open the public hearing, so we will go right to discussion. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can there be a roll call vote?
Councilmember Hudson,
Aye.
Councilmember Alone,
Aye.
Councilmember Perkins,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Safar,
Yes.
and Mayor Clarkson.
Aye.
Thank you.
5-0 vote, I believe.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9, City Council appointments. 9.1, Transportation Demand Management Advisory Committee appointment. Staff report by Transportation Division Manager Lisa Bobadilla.
Hello, Lisa.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Mayor Clarkson, members of the council, city manager, staff, and San Ramon community. Tonight, staff is recommending that the city council review the Transportation Demand Management Advisory Committee application and appoint one alternate committee member to the TDM Advisory Committee. The TDM Advisory Committee is comprised of 5 committee members and 2 alternate members who all represent a San Ramon business. The vacancy notice was posted to the city's website, and staff also reached out to the San Ramon business community. Ultimately, the city clerk's office received 1 application. Since there was only 1 application received for the 1 alternate member vacancy, there was no interview required with the Planning Commission ad hoc committee. Therefore, tonight it is staff's recommendation that the city council appoint Jackie Texeria to the TDM Advisory Committee as the committee's alternate member for a 2-year term to run through January 31st, 2022. It should be noted that the alternate committee member must attend at least one meeting a quarter. Alternate members receive all committee meeting packets, and in the absence of a committee member, the alternate member can vote on any item. That concludes my recommendation tonight, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Is there a motion and or any questions for Lisa?
I'll move, Jackie. Tixeria, is that how you pronounce it, Lisa?
Yes, that's good.
To the 2-year term to run through January 31st. That will be the alternate member of the Transportation Demand Management Advisory Committee. That was January 31st of 2022.
Yes.
Second.
Mr. Perkins did the second on that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Councilmember Hudson,
Aye.
Councilmember Alone. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Couldn't hear it.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Perkins,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Safar,
Aye.
and Mayor Clarkson.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 9.1 has been approved 5-0.
Thank you.
Item 10, approval of minutes. Before you are 3 sets of minutes. One from April 14th, a workshop, April 14th, a regular meeting, and April 23rd, a special meeting for your approval this evening.
We can do them one by one, or we can do it all at one packet, I believe, correct, Martin?
Correct.
Thank you.
That
Is
is
there a
correct.
motion?
I'll move all 3 minutes of the City of San Ramon Council.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussions? Seeing no further discussions, Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Councilmember Hudson.
Third. Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Alone.
Aye.
Councilmember Perkins,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Safar,
Yes.
and Mayor Clarkson.
Aye.
Thank you. Items 10.1 through 10.3 has been approved 5-0. Item 11, unfinished business. 11.1, public hearing, resolution number 2020-033, establishing fees and charges for various municipal services for fiscal year 2020, 2021, and repealing resolution number 2019-044. I will be presenting the staff report this evening. City staff annually reviews the fees and charges as part of the overall budget process and makes recommendations to the council regarding those fees. The fee schedule was reviewed by the Finance Committee on March 9th and made one recommended change, and that change was for a fee for parking in a fire lane was changed to $125 in order to be consistent with the other parking violation fees. The council introduced this resolution and set the public hearing date at the meeting on March 24th. Since that city council meeting, staff has made further revisions to the fee schedule. The revisions include a new credit card transaction fee has been added to offset the fee the city incurs on credit and debit card transactions. The proposed fee will result in a cost savings of approximately $200,000 to the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget. Next, the inspection fees for GAD, drainage, site development, building, and encroachment permits have increased to improve cost recovery. Those proposed rates are consistent with the general billing rates for building inspectors. This change will result in an increase in cost to the applicant, but will significantly improve cost recovery. And lastly, the traffic mitigation fees have been revised to reflect a 5.4% increase instead of a 5.7 increase that was made in error originally. Originally, the construction cost index, CCI, for January 2020 was used rather than using the December 2019 CCI, resulting in a decrease. The updated proposed fee schedule was posted to the city's website on April 17th, 10 days prior to this public hearing. The recommendation for this evening is to conduct a public hearing and adopt a resolution establishing fees and charges for fiscal year 2020, 2021, and repeal resolution 2019-044.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With the council's permission, let's go ahead and open the public meeting to start, and then we can go to see if there is a motion. Do we have anybody who wants to speak at public comment on this?
It doesn't look like it. However, for those who have arrived late to the meeting, if you would like to speak under the public hearing, please press the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or *9 on your telephone at this time.
We will give them a chance to do that still, so I'm not going to close the public comment yet. Is there a motion? And we can go to a motion and a second, and we'll go back to Dave. You got a look on your face. Can we do that?
Okay. Well,
I'll
you
ask
close
Martin.
the public hearing, we do the motion.
Wait, do we have to do
Looking
that,
at
Martin?
Martin, he's laughing. What do we do here?
Martin, can I keep it open? Make sure we get any public comments who want to be made?
You may keep, yes, you may keep it open.
Yeah, I want to make sure that nobody gets cut off and they have plenty of time.
Yes.
I guess I'd make the motion, but I'd prefer that Finance Committee make any comments or move it. Other than that, I mean, I see nothing.
Let's see, Phil and I went through the presentation as presented by staff, and the one that that kind of stuck out at us was that the parking associated with fire lane was substantially cheaper than some of the other parking violations, and we thought that was kind of a disconnect. And so we recommended that we change that one. For the most part, the changes were reflected based upon studies that the staff had made of other local agencies and reviews of actual costs. They changed the structure of some of them to be a time and materials as opposed to a flat fee. So it more closely represents the cost to the customer. But overall, Phil and I were essentially, we were satisfied that the fee structure was satisfactory going forward.
Cool.
Thank you, Scott.
Well, unless you guys got it in front of you and want to move, I'll move Resolution 2020-33, establishing fees and charges for various municipal services for fiscal year 2020-2021 and repealing resolution number 2019-44.
I'll second.
Okay, I'm going to go back now to public comment. Has anybody else raised their hand?
No, we have no request to speak on this item.
Okay, I want to give plenty of time. I'll go ahead and close the public comment at this time. Go back to council members. Any other comments? Or we have the motion and the second made. See no hands raised. Madam Clerk, can we go to the
I
roll
forgot to
call?
raise my hand, but I was going to make a comment.
Oh, please go ahead.
So, I mean, looking through this, the city does offer a lot of services, which, you know, when I looked through all the different services we offer, I was very impressed with how much. So is there a list we keep online or somewhere where people can go and take a look at those services, or we can refer to the city provided services?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up. I only heard part of that.
All right. I think, yeah, it says my internet connection is unstable, not the best time. So if I break up again, let me know. If I continue to break up, I'll move somewhere else in the house. I was asking these, I noticed going through these services that the city offers quite a lot of services. Do we have them listed somewhere where the public can go and look online somewhere?
Yes, our website contains all of our services in depth and answers a lot of the general questions of the public. And also certainly they can call info or email info San Ramon or make calls to the departments and get information as necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Dave, you have your hands up.
Yeah, I was particularly taken with the credit card convenience fee, which I think was very reasonable. You get to the end of the year, you're trying to make your mileage and you pay your taxes with a credit card. Next thing, hey, I got a free trip to one. It's going to be, I think, more and more of it, but it is expensive. I think that the county charged like $100 or something like that. I don't think it's unreasonable. I think that was, to me, that's the one that stuck out, and I think it was a good move.
Great. Seeing no further comment, Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Councilmember Hudson,
Aye.
Councilmember Alone,
Aye.
Councilmember Perkins,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Safar,
Yes.
and Mayor Clarkson.
Aye.
Thank you. Fee resolution 2020-033 has been approved 5-0. Item 12, new business. 12.1, Library Advisory Committee 2019 Annual Report. Introduction by Kathy Hyman, Parks and Community Services Director, presented by Cindy Alpert, Library Advisory Committee Chairperson.
Hello, Kathy.
Hello again. So this is an evening about the library. So let's continue on that theme. Our Library Advisory Committee has prepared an annual report that talks about their accomplishments and actions, as well as their goals for next year. They presented it to the Parks and Community Services Commission in February, and the commission recommended that it be forwarded to you. So this evening we have Cindy Alpert here. She's the current chair, and she's going to provide the report. Cindy?
Hello, Cindy.
Hello, good evening. Thank you. So before you is the 2019 annual report. I appreciate the opportunity to present this evening at the City Council meeting. For the record, my name is Cindy Alpert. I am the current chairperson of the Library Advisory Committee. And I'm here this evening to present the annual report of the San Ramon Library Advisory Committee. We did present this to the Parks and Community Services Commission on February 12th. So it's been a month since we've done this, but appreciate the opportunity. Next slide. So these are the committee members of the Library Advisory Committee. We also have 5 committee members and 2 alternates. This picture was actually taken in the library when we could visit the library, and I think this was taken at our last meeting in January. So these are our members, and just starting from new books and going to the right, or to my right, we have Bankim Mehta and myself, Cindy Alpert, Kathy Gilchrist, who at the time was an alternate, Ray Ramirez, Kumaraval Nalusamy, who is an alternate, Richard DeRath, and our Parks and Commission representative, Sridhar Barros. So our 2019, thank you. So this is kind of the overall, an overview of what the charge of the committee is. And really, I see us as a liaison group who acts between the community, the library staff, the city staff, and certainly the city council. When we take input from the community, we evaluate ideas, we hear presentations from Dina regularly on what's going on at the library. And then we also do get information from the county, and that's actually presented by Kathy Gilchrist, as she's also a member on the County Library Commission. So just to read this, we make recommendations to staff, commission, the Contra Costa County Library officials, and the City Council on the delivery of library services. And again, a lot of this is really presented by Dina, and we review that and provide feedback and input to her. Receive and evaluate input from the community. So as I mentioned, I really see us as a liaison between the community and city and staff. Our meetings are open to the public. We have had some guests over the last couple of years for various reasons. We do allow public comment, and we do have representatives from other councils and advisory committees. So we have a representative from the Teen Council, and we do have the Parks and Commission representative. And then we lately have had somebody from the Senior Advisory Committee, which is very helpful as well. We act as a liaison for library issues to other governmental, nonprofit, and private organizations. We serve as a resource and advocate to the city on library issues. And we review the county library policies and provide input to the county on policies for the San Ramon Library. And as I mentioned, Kathy Gilchrist, who's on our committee, is a representative to the county commission. And she's been extremely informative in keeping us up to date on what's been going on. We also actually moved our meeting dates in order to accommodate her schedule because with county library. And so we changed our meeting night so that she would have an opportunity to attend both meetings and give us information. Next slide. So these are our 2019 goals and objectives. Our goals and objectives seem to remain fairly consistent year to year, which is nice. We did have some of the objectives that we had this year. We had other items come up, other activities come up, and we didn't actually address some of them. The first one actually being monitoring the retention and use of library performance standards or library performance metrics as outlined in the city's general plan. So Dee was actually supposed to present some information to us at the January meeting, but unfortunately she was dealing with some other issues that were going on, and so we were not able to get that update. Our second objective is the Library Advisory Committee will continue to evaluate library services to ensure San Ramon's libraries services meet and respond to the evolving needs of our community. And I think we offer a lot of great programs. I mean, certainly with the current situation, I think what Dina presented earlier was extremely informative, and there's certainly a lot of ways that you can use the library even though you are at home. And I know over the course of the last year, there's so many programs that are offered to people throughout our community. And I think it's just an absolutely wonderful resource for us. The advisory committee will continue to monitor any activity regarding the 3-party lease agreements MOU or any future amendments to the same in regard to the Doherty Station Library. And then the Library Advisory Committee will continue to monitor progress on the Contra Costa County Community College District Bond construction plans as it relates to building a library at the San Ramon campus. So Brad actually provided an update to us on this issue. I think it was also at January meeting. A lot of activity going on there. And actually, if there are any questions specifically related to that, I'm going to defer to Kathy Hyman to address those. But we are aware of those agreements. We are aware of how it impacts the Doherty Station, and certainly open to ideas and considerations as to how we can continue the services at the Doherty Station to meet the community needs. And the last slide, the Library Advisory Committee will monitor the Contra Costa County Library Strategic Plan. So this is another one where we really did not spend time this past year evaluating that or reviewing that. Again, I think with Kathy Gilchrist as a committee member, she'll be able to provide a lot of good information to us. So our goals and objectives for 2020. First of all, we look forward to meeting again at some point. We did cancel our April meeting. We were supposed to be meeting this month, actually this coming week. So, we'll definitely look forward to getting back together, finding ways to address these goals and objectives. So again, they're very similar to what we had on the plate for 2019. Continue to monitor the library performance standards, continue to evaluate the library services and the 3-party joint use agreement. Next slide. Continue to monitor the progress of the Contra Costa County Community College District Bond construction plans, monitor the county library strategic plan. And then this last one is a new one, and we're very, very excited about this. And again, hope that we can at some point see this come to fruition. This is review and approve the story walk stories that are presented by the youth services librarian. And I think you're familiar with this. This is a joint project with, or it's being funded by some other organizations in the community, but this is where you take a book and you actually break the pages apart and you put them underneath plexiglass and you stage them around a park, and we've selected the community Central Park. And it gives families an opportunity to read the stories and look at the pictures and talk about them while enjoying the parks. And so we see this as a really, really great opportunity to meld both the library and the parks together. And again, we look really forward to seeing this first book hopefully be put into use. That's it for me. Any questions?
I don't have a full screen to see all council members. Does anybody have any questions for Cindy?
So I might have it for Kathy, like Cindy mentioned. Cindy, first of all, thank you so much for the presentation.
You're welcome.
About the Contra Costa, the community college / Doherty Valley Library. I don't know a whole lot of details on what's happening there. Are you able to share that?
Well, I can share a little bit. I'll help you out here, Cindy. So at this point, we've had lots of communication with both the county library and the college. So we're working very collaboratively to figure out what that future is going to be out there. The community college has indicated that their construction is moving along and they're planning on hiring a library specialist that they would have start in the fall. And they've indicated their desire or plan to exit the MOU as of December 31. So they will be a partner with us for the first 6 months of the year. And then the second 6 months, it will just be the city and the county partnering. But that being said, we're excited because San Ramon residents are going to have access to the community college library. So there will actually be 3 spaces in San Ramon that you can get some quiet space to study or do some work.
So will that be an extension of the same library, or is that going to be an additional library?
It's a completely separate building. It'll be a completely different kind of operation. And we'll be coming probably back and sharing more about that as we get all of those details worked out.
Okay, thank you.
Dave, you have your hand up.
Yeah, Kathy, this community college library brings back a lot of memories. I'll just stick with the library for a minute, though. The big promise there were 2 of them. One is what you just said, that all residents can go into this college library. And that was an adamant point when negotiations were going on. The other was that the library was hooked up to the UC system. Has anybody talked about that at all? In other words, you could hook up with the libraries throughout the University of California system. Is that something that kind of fell by the wayside, or is that included in this?
You know, I haven't spoken with them specifically about that detail. I think we've been dealing more with some of the hard pieces of the structure, but I will make sure to double check that and get back to you on it.
Thank you.
Not seeing any other questions. Is there a?
Move to accept the report.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there a second on that?
I can second.
Great. See no further comments. Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Hudson,
Aye.
Councilmember Alone, Councilmember Perkins,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Safar,
Yes.
and Mayor Clarkson.
Aye.
Thank you. Passed 5-0 or received.
Thanks, Cindy.
Cindy, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I love the picture you chose to do it in front of.
That's one of my favorites.
It looks
Very
like it.
much.
Thank you. Thank you
Appreciate
again
it.
for taking time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Item 12.2, resolution number 2020-034, authorizing the mayor to execute agreements with Lear Auto Electric, Flock Safety, and Edgeworth Integration, LLC, for the comprehensive street camera installation project, CIP 400-002, and amounts not to exceed $179,727, $210,000, and $650,000, respectively, and appropriating an additional $277,027 from the 2019 Certificates of Participation Project Fund to CIP 400-002 for a total of $1,277,027. Staff report by Police Captain Carrie Goldberg.
Evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Good evening, council members, mayor, vice mayor, and community members. For those in our community who don't know me, my name is Carrie Goldberg. I'm a captain and I currently oversee the Operations Bureau of the Police Department. This has been a project in the making for several years now. And quite honestly, I'm thrilled to be able to present to the council tonight because quite honestly, with the COVID scare and everything else that everybody's going through, I didn't know if we were going to be able to do that. A little history behind this, other than the years of planning, this project is being funded as a capital improvement project through the certificate of participation bonds. And so I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that in light of the current economic situation. The fact that it's been 5 years is not a bad thing. Over that time, I've had a chance to speak with numerous other law enforcement agencies and tap the resources of those who have already done this in an effort to try and come together with the best plan possible. And I think after all this time that we are ready to present that to you. And I think that we've come up with a great plan that's going to certainly be of a benefit to the police department as well as the members of the community. And before I go into the presentation, I want to make sure I thank everybody that was involved in helping me with this, because I certainly was not a one-man show in this. And you know, everybody from Maria and the engineering department, city attorney, the city manager, the police department staff, council, you know, everybody played their part in this. And without everybody's help, we wouldn't be able to do this. And last but not least, certainly our IT expert, Bill Brandt. Without him, I certainly wouldn't be able to do this. So with that being said, I will start my PowerPoint. And please let me know if you can see this.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mine got lost.
All right.
Oh.
So our camera plan, we finally came to the conclusion that we will use 3 different types of cameras, all offering different technology and analytics. But the final 3 vendors that we're going to go with are Vigilant, which is a license plate reader, which we're already familiar with their system. Flock, which is a Flock Safety. They're another type of license plate reader, and a Vigilon. They provide the Vigilon situational awareness cameras and the software platform that powers that. So our camera plan is going to have 40 different locations throughout the city of ALPR cameras that are going to provide coverage on every major route of ingress and egress.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt for just a moment. I can't see the presentation. It disappeared from my screen. I'm going to go log off and log back on.
This is an official 5-minute break, Mayor.
Well, I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll take a small break here.
This is strange.
On the very top, view options, did you touch something up there?
No, I was just sitting here and it disappeared. I can hear everybody. I can see Carrie's face, but I can't see the presentation. And so the presentation disappeared. I don't have a...
There is a swap screen button on the top right.
Well, unfortunately, all I get is the little tiny thumbnail pictures.
The speaker view?
I can get a picture of the presentation that's about 1.5 inches by 2.5 inches, but I can't read it.
Stephen, can you help out?
Do you have a view option on the very top of your page, Scott?
Yeah.
No.
Put your cursor
Next
up
to
there
the
on the
green
top.
blocks.
Well, I don't have that. That's the problem.
No cursor?
No, I have a cursor, but all I have is thumbnails of pictures of, right now, the mayor. I can get pictures of other people, but all I can get is the little thumbnail pictures. I can't, and I don't even have access to a way to stop.
Well, so
Christine, can you email it to him?
I could.
Yeah, we can try and email it to
Yeah,
Council.
just do that.
Also, Councilmember Perkins, if you can open up another screen, you can actually watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
I say we defer to you to make the motion, Scott. He's back.
I'm back and I've got the full presentation now. Thank you.
Okay, let's go.
All right. So 40 locations of ALPR cameras. And when I say ALPR, those are the license plate reader cameras. And I'll apologize in advance if I use abbreviations. I'll try and sound them all out. The license plate readers at all major routes of ingress and egress, as well as the surrounding commercial areas within the city. In addition to the license plate readers, we'll have 42 locations of situational cameras. Now, these cameras are considered a device. In each device, there are actually 4 independent cameras. So several of our locations will have multiple cameras because of the size of the intersections. Right. So we'll have a total of 184 different viewing angles throughout the city. And again, in trying to put together the best product and identifying what software and camera is going to work best, we wanted to find cameras that were going to communicate with each other so that we could minimize the time of the data retrieval. And that's what these cameras do. The flocks talk to one another, as do the Avigilon cameras. And the other component to this, or at least one component to the strategy behind this, was we wanted to place the cameras in a way between the license plate readers as well as the situational awareness cameras in locations that were not only key to where our commercial areas were, but also with the likelihood that if someone was coming into town or driving through the city and they do commit a crime, we want to catch them on more than one camera. It'll make it far easier for our investigators to follow up on leads with that. In addition to certain types of crimes, we're able to determine an exact route of travel. And I'll go into some examples where that was beneficial for other agencies very recently. So the next slide depicts just an overall snapshot of individual icons that represent the different types of cameras. You can see the purple or fuchsia colored icons with the squares. Those represent the flock license plate readers. The black background with the white movie camera icon, those represent the situational awareness cameras. And then the blue camera icons represent the vigilant license plate readers. So again, this is a map panned out from afar. And I'll show you another screenshot shortly, but you'll see that the city's got very good coverage all the way through. And again, I'm not going to go into the exact specifics of the locations because we don't make that particularly available to everybody, but driving through the city, they'll be very obvious. And you will see from the other maps that we have complete coverage throughout the city. So how does this help San Ramon PD and the community? Well, right now it's going to provide us with video surveillance and images of license plates and or vehicles captured in public within our community. We don't have that right now, and we haven't had that. This has been a proven successful strategy with other agencies. Our neighboring agencies have these. Danville, Livermore, Dublin, Pleasanton, and other Bay Area agencies all have pretty significant camera programs, and it's doing wonders in their cities from an investigative standpoint for the police department. So again, it expands the network of similar type cameras in neighboring jurisdictions. We do share.
Excuse me, Carrie, could you, doing wonders isn't really helpful to me. What do you mean?
And so I'll go into some examples of that. I will give you one example that I believe most are familiar with. Maybe last year, within the last 12 months, I believe, Danville had a homicide. And it was near the Costco on Fostoria Way. And they have a network of cameras. In particular, they used a vigilant license plate reader. They got suspect information specific to the suspect's vehicle. They were able to bring in their detectives and one of their analysts and then comb through that particular license plate reader near that location. And as a result of a vague suspect description, they were able to determine who the suspect was by finding his out-of-state plate and vehicle, and they had him identified within several hours of the crime.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's one example. There are many others, but that's the one that comes to mind. And so again, that provides investigative leads for detectives. And there's also a public awareness component and crime deterrent component to this as well. The public, we've had town hall meetings. They're, you know, the feedback that I've received is the public wants these cameras. It's almost an expectation now. And the criminals know. I mean, we've talked to criminals after they've been arrested. They know where there are cameras and where there are not cameras. And so that does count for something from a deterrent perspective. So the first camera system I'll touch on, this is a Vigilant, the automated license plate readers. This is a system we're already familiar with. We currently have 8 patrol vehicles that are outfitted with mobile license plate readers. So they're basically affixed to the exterior of our police vehicles. And as our officers drive around, they are taking snapshots of license plates within our community. These would be at fixed locations. And by having access to this, we have access to a nationally hosted database, which it gives us information on vehicles, much like the one Danville utilized, where they were able to actually track that vehicle. And it went back to, I believe it was Indiana or Illinois, one of those states. And they knew when the suspect had gone back there through different hits on license plate readers. They're capable of 5G cellular transmission. It's very quick. Every police agency owns its own specific data. We have access to share or not share that data with other agencies. The data storage for this particular system is 2 years, and we control how long we share this data or hold on to this data. And it provides us with stolen vehicle system hot list or alerts. We can also create custom alerts. If we have a known vehicle that we've identified associated with a crime, we can enter it into this system. And the following day, if that vehicle comes or passes one of our license plate readers, that will give us an alert, our officers alert, our dispatch an alert that that vehicle has entered the city at a certain location. So like I said, this is a known system for us. Vigilant was kind of the pioneers and the starters of this, of the license plate reading. It's been a very good product for us so far. And again, it's having access to that national database that really has worked out for other agencies as well as us. The other type of license plate reader we are going to deploy is through Flock. Flock is a relatively new company. This company was not around when I first started looking into this project, but has since really stormed the market. There are several advantages to this system that they're obviously the engineers in this company have gone out to different law enforcement agencies and spoken to them and find out what those agencies want. The advantage to this is it's solar and battery powered. So it can last up to in excess of 3 days on battery power that it gets from solar power. This is an actual picture of one of the Flock cameras that we have in the city right now at the intersection of Crow Canyon and Camino Ramon, at the intersection near the Alta. Aside from being solar and battery powered, again, 5G cellular transmission, CJIS compliant cloud storage, and that's criminal justice information systems. Through the FBI, it governs, how secure the data is. So it's all encrypted, compliant with the FBI standards. Artificial learning software and analytics, and I'll show you some screenshots here shortly of what I mean. One of the other advantages to this system is one camera covers 2 lanes of traffic. So that obviously significantly reduces price when you have one license plate reader that can cover 2 lanes of traffic. As you all know, San Ramon has multiple roads with multiple lanes. So trying to narrow down choke points within the city to where we know we're going to get all the traffic or capture images of the license plates of all the traffic in the city has been a bit of a challenge. This has certainly assisted in that, in overcoming that challenge. Just like the Vigilant cameras, agency-owned data, ownership control of who we share that data with. Same thing, we get daily stolen vehicle system updates. So if another agency enters a stolen vehicle into the stolen vehicle system, and that vehicle from out of the area travels within our city and comes across one of our license plates readers, we will get an alert almost instantly, probably about a 5-second delay. And then our officers will know where that license plate reader is. It'll give a GPS coordinate of where that vehicle passed through. And then again, having that fleet or cache of license plate readers, if they continue to drive through the city, we'll get updates as it moves through there.
Excuse me, Carrie, how does an officer who is patrolling in a vehicle get an alert? Is it on his phone, or is it on his, his computer on screen? How does that officer get the alert, and what information is provided to that officer?
So all of the above, we can do all of the above for the officers in patrol. I think in an effort to keep them as safe as we can also have that pushed out to their MDCs, as well as dispatch will broadcast it, because dispatch will get the alerts at the same time. We do have the ability to get text alerts. I get the text alerts almost daily from this particular flock camera. Anytime we have a stolen license plate entered in the system, I get an alert. I can pull it up from my phone or go to my desktop, depending on where I'm at. And within seconds, I can see what plate that was. The officers need to take some steps thereafter to ensure that it's still a stolen plate in the system. But the alert is very quick based on the cellular transmission. So to answer your question, they can get it on their MDCs, their mobile computers within their vehicles. Dispatch will broadcast it, as well as email and or text alerts.
So they get an alert that says blue Ford Mustang, license plate X, and it tells it was on Crow Canyon Road eastbound at Camino Ramon.
Yes, with a date time stamp, it'll give a picture of that vehicle as well as of the license plate. The dispatcher or officer will then confirm through their systems if that license plate is still considered outstanding or stolen. And then the officer will go to that area and circulate that area in hopes of identifying where that vehicle is. And again, if they're traveling in San Ramon, they're likely going to come upon more than one of these, pass through more than one of these license plate readers, and we'll get updates. But the officer should have a good head start based on their knowledge of the way these are pointing and what the information is that's conveyed to them at the time the hit takes place.
If the license plate is registered to a minivan, but it's mounted on a Mustang, does the system know the difference?
These cameras are going to register the license plate, and the license plate is going to be what triggers the stolen vehicle plate. So the officer then will have to make the determination, is that on the right vehicle or not? There is software associated with this where the license or the actual camera itself recognizes the type of vehicle as well. But it's ultimately up to the officer. It's their responsibility to confirm that prior to making any sort of stop or taking any sort of law enforcement action.
Okay, so the officer will know that it's supposed to be on a Honda Accord, but he comes across that license plate and it's on a Ford Mustang, he'll know that.
That's correct.
Okay.
And our vigilants do the same as well. Our vigilant cameras do the same as well.
Good, thank you.
Harry, for the AI analytics piece, are they learning from kind of, however we will detect or use some of those, some of that data, or is that something we're guiding them as to what you are specifically looking for?
No, so they are. The AI is exactly what it is, the artificial intelligence. It's constantly learning. There are so many different search capabilities with this in which we can search for vehicles, even without a license plate. This particular software, or the camera in the system, which I really like, is you can search for a vehicle and not have the license plate, and this software recognizes what type of vehicle it is. It also recognizes the difference between a vehicle and a motorcycle. You can also search using, there's even an animal function. If the camera detects an animal in the car, it will bring up that particular picture of the vehicle if it in fact captured it. So there's certainly constant AI and learning with this.
Thank you.
And I will show you on one of these next screens, just an example. And again, here's an overhead shot of where our flock cameras would be deployed. Again, general reference to the locations, not specific because the screen is panned out so much. I just wanted to include it throughout the city. And keep in mind, this screen only represents the flock cameras, not the situational awareness cameras and not the vigilant license plate readers.
Don't go away. Gary, can I ask the question? There's south side of San Ramon, Alcosta Boulevard. You can read it and you see one of your, call them pink cameras. Is that in the shopping center, or because I see Dublin High, is that the Iron Horse Trail, or what is that? Do you know specifically where that is?
I do. And those cameras, you see the cluster of the flock cameras. Those cameras are centered around the shopping center, as well as entrances into the West Side Drive area. So we're also going to have cameras, a situational camera there that's also going to give us live footage, or as well as recorded footage of any vehicle that comes into there. The one that you asked about Dublin High, that particular camera is higher up on Village Parkway, more north of Dublin High on Village Parkway. So it's capturing any inbound traffic there.
Yeah, there's a bridge on the Iron Horse Trail that I don't know if it's a problem. I just look at in the very near future, we're going to start with these cameras and we're talking about license plate readers. These don't capture anything from electric bikes or anything like that. It's just cars or motorcycles.
They do capture bicycles. There's a search function for that. It will capture a bicycle. It will capture individuals standing, but there's no way to refine that search. It's just by person. If they happen to cross the path of it, there's a person search. The same way it would detect a person. If it detects a person in a car, it's going to show you the image of that person. So the answer to your question is yes. It's just a matter of where do we deploy these? And we try to come up with a solution where we can deploy these and capture all our routes of ingress, coupled with the situational cameras. So we have a virtual fence around the city per se. So we know, we try and give our investigators and our patrol officers the best possible chance in identifying these, certainly the out of city criminal element, but as well as if there are folks within our community that are committing crimes, hopefully they're going to.
That bridge on the Iron Horse Trail leading to Dublin's the only thing I see that's not. The only reason I bring it up is you're not supposed to have motorcycles on the Iron Horse Trail, and that's almost laughable. They're nightly, but it looks like we're pretty well covered.
It is. It's definitely, like I said, it's a challenge, because the challenge is not coming up with the cameras to place them where every avenue is covered. It's to working within a budget as well, and I realize that. And the beauty of this, and I think I touched on it in one of the last bulleted points, is if we find that we have one of these cameras deployed throughout the city and 6 months goes by and we find, hey, this really isn't a busy location, with these cameras we can redeploy them because they're very easy to move. Our own staff could take one of these down and put them back up, and that's what is a big advantage of having these flock cameras, is they're not hardwired into any power source. And so within a matter of minutes, you can put it down, you can take it down and redeploy it.
Well, Dublin may have it covered. It might be worth asking.
And that's the other thing. I'm aware of where Dublin's cameras are. And so again, in working with our partners, working with Dublin, as well as to the north of us, working with Danville, we know where their cameras are deployed. And, we're again, working together to try and have this fence around everywhere. So each agency knows who's coming in or out of their city.
Carrie, in the AI world, is there any facial recognition associated with any of these three camera systems?
No, there's not. We've tried to stay away from that, and we have stayed away from that. So there's no facial recognition associated with this.
Thank you.
So this is just an example. Again, this you can see at the bottom, this is San Ramon PD, Crow Canyon Place, Crow Canyon Road. This is very similar to what an officer would get. If in fact one of these plates were stolen, the only difference would be the stolen plate would be identified as, it would be highlighted, and there would be highlight area around that. It would explain exactly the time and everything else, the GPS coordinates of where that vehicle is. But you can see the 2 lanes of travel. These are some pretty impressive HD quality photos that, you know, frankly, in my days as an investigator, we were never lucky enough to have something this clear. But there's no need to blow it up and try and enhance the image of the plate. I mean, these are solid, high definition quality photographs. And, you know, I mean, it's amazing to see this kind of technology, and it's exciting. I wish I was back in investigations doing some of this, because
Is it similar at night?
So that's my next slide. So the difference is you're not going to see the color of the vehicle, and this is similar to what you'd see on a stolen vehicle. I'm sorry, let me go back there. You see the license plate is highlighted, and I just pulled up a night picture of this. I didn't search for any type of vehicle, but this is also the information that comes with this vehicle to the left. It will identify the license plate that it read. The AI, it detects that these lights or whatever the AI is behind this software detects it's a Ford pickup. And not only that, but it's been seen 13 of the last 26 days at this particular location. And this is just scratching the surface of what the software can do. But it makes it really easy for our investigators to go down to a certain time frame and look for a particular type of vehicle. So the third prong to our system is the Avigilon cameras with the Avigilon software. As I said before, you see it's an actual device, or it's a, it appears that's an actual picture of the device we'd be purchasing. Within that lower ring, there are 4 individual cameras. So you really get you know, a lot of camera angle for one particular device. Again, 5G cellular transmission. This captures images of vehicles that the LPRs do not. This also, not only does it record the footage 24/7, the officers would also have the ability to watch this live. Let's say if we had an event, if we had a protest, whatever the case is, the officers would have the ability to log into one of these through the software and watch these live, watch any number of these cameras live. Self-learning AI, video analytics. You can see that box, that's an actual server stored and mounted to the post. It would be high enough that no one can get that without you know, the use of some equipment backing up to it and taking it, and it's secured within there. It's 30 days of storage. And again, with the AI, that, you know, the thing I like about this is it's got a particular vehicle search. Once you've tagged the vehicle you're looking for, you can tag that and utilize the other cameras to search right with that vehicle. You don't need to search the individual camera through a certain time. As long as you tag that vehicle, the other cameras in the software will recognize it, and they'll pull up any date and times that that particular vehicle has crossed that camera. So it really saves our investigators a lot of time. In the AI with the unusual motion detection, you know, I'll give you an example of just the other week. We had a collision in which an individual was driving. He had 2 children, suspected of driving under the influence of alcohol. Had that occurred within one of these intersections, the AI behind these cameras can pick that up. The camera would detect that as an unusual motion, and we would get alerted to it. And I mean about the collision itself, if it occurs within the intersection. The other good feature about this is just, you know, for example, that occurred on Bollinger, just south of Monarch. That vehicle would have traveled through at least 2 cameras. That would have been of an investigative benefit to our motor officers, because using that date time stamp, the speed in which it's captured, as well as possibly detecting any erratic movements of a driver, the officers can certainly use that to assist them in determining speed and other things of evidentiary value.
Do we have the authority to capture speeding or speed through this?
We won't, and they won't be used to, you know, look back and in hindsight issue citations for speeding. These would just be used for investigative purposes. That's our intent, for investigative purposes. Now, if we have a crime in which speed is one of the elements, or if someone is driving recklessly, and we can use this as an additional investigative tool, we would certainly use that. But that's not going to, they're not going to be used for just identifying speeders.
You're safe, Sabina.
No, I remember in Scottsdale, they put up cameras way back 15, 16 years ago for speeding. And then I think the state changed the law or something happened and they had to take them down or so. I wasn't quite sure what, you know.
Yeah, that's an area we're not going to even, we're not going to touch that. That's a combination of license plate readers and speeding cameras, and that's just not the business we're going to be in. So this picture, again, overhead picture of where our situational cameras will be deployed. Again, just rough estimates, but I think you can see throughout the city as well as our high schools, our commercial areas. This gives it's just an overwhelming amount of additional help that we can get when crimes occur in certain areas that, up until now, we haven't had that ability. And just to give you an example, so the folks at Edgeworth Security have been very helpful with us. They came out, we visited every single site, all 42 sites, and this is the kind of overview and study they do. They figure out where the camera will go best and the type of coverage we have. As you can see by this particular slide, this is an overhead of Rancho Park Loop. We both know, we all know that there are 2 entry exits. So 1 camera on each side. There's not going to be any way to get a vehicle. Obviously, so, walking, someone could come down in there, but any sort of vehicle traffic going in there is going to be covered by a camera, as well as the surrounding areas. And that just gives you, that's just their scientific method of, telling you what areas are going to be covered on the roadway. And then this is a little bit closer of a picture. As we all know on Bollinger, those intersections are really wide. They have the huge center divide in them. So some of these intersections are going to take 2 cameras in order to have sufficient and complete coverage. And as you can see by that, where the camera locations will be, we definitely have overlapping coverage in all directions of travel for these intersections. So with that being said, I'm sure there might be some questions, but that's all I have at this point.
Rough schedule?
I'm sorry?
What's a rough schedule?
If it were up to me, it would have been done last week. The schedule for this, there are some times of uncertainty right now with what contractors can do. But I do know if you're asking a schedule about when these would be implemented, I think in a perfect case scenario, we'll have these all in place well before the end of the year. But I think some of these, such as the flocks that don't require a significant amount of prep work, such as electrical wiring and things of that nature, several weeks, I would imagine.
Okay. Thank you.
Dave, you have a question?
Yeah, question, semi-comment. The one thing that still concerns me, Carrie, is, and it may be something, like you said, take a look at what Dublin and Danville, but I can enter San Ramon on the Iron Horse Trail and leave it without being filmed any way, shape, or form, especially with the new development we're talking about in Bishop Ranch. Almost wish I could go back in time and stick another Fion store, but I think we may have pushed that one a little too far. But it's the only thing that's open from the BART station to the BART station.
And there wouldn't be anything precluding us from doing that. Again, it's working within the budget, and it's something we can certainly revisit.
Have you found that there's criminal activity associated with the Iron Horse Trail? People entering and leaving that way?
Oh, I'm certainly not going to say that doesn't happen. But again, it's you only know it until after it's too late or after you've caught someone. So I wish I could tell you or give you a number or a percentage.
Are you aware of any that in the last few years that the criminals used the Iron Horse Trail for entrance or egress. Are you aware?
I'm not personally aware, but I can't say that that hasn't happened. Now, is there crime that occurs on the Iron Horse Trail? Absolutely. However, that's East Bay Regional Parks. But again, they pass through our city, so we have a vested interest in it as well.
Scott, if I could stay on that same thing, because you're bringing up a good point. You don't hear me say, no, you got to put a camera on there tomorrow. It's like, keep your eyes open, because like Carrie said at the beginning of the presentation, now that the other cities, town, whatever it is, they have it, criminals know we don't. And when you know there's one place that's open, especially with the increase we're expecting from the BART station, that's an easy location to spot where it's not hard to get out here. And I mean, I could tell you from firsthand knowledge that there are vehicles on the Iron Horse Trail and they're not allowed on the Iron Horse Trail. So, but it's going to, and if everybody else believes that it isn't, then we don't. It's just pointing out something, there's a shortcoming.
I'm going to ask if staff could return the grid so we can see everybody. The screen.
I would just, this is such situational management. We are going from 0 to 200 cameras, and we're worried about a couple of cameras that may or may not. First of all, this is a $1.6 million investment, right?
1.2.
1.2 plus another 15% maintenance, right? And so we're talking about spending $200,000 a year in addition to this, because that's how much software, this equipment's going to break, and it's going to get stolen, and something better will come along. This thing the best one didn't exist 2 years ago, I believe, right, Carrie? Was that roughly the time frame, something like that?
When I first started doing this, Flock was not around that I was aware of.
Yeah. So, one thing that does concern me about all this is my understanding of where we were starting was stationary license plate readers at key intersections and such. And we've gone to something between 0 and the City of London. And I don't understand it. I mean, we have, what are we, bottom 25 in the state in crime rate? And the criminals didn't suddenly say, oh, great, let's go rip off San Ramon. The best thing that we have done in this city in terms of lowering our property crimes, in my opinion, is the captains or the chiefs getting together with all the other departments in the area and cooperating and investigating everything. And look, I understand why we're doing this, but please don't act like we have this high crime rate and a whole bunch of criminals have magically said, let's go rip off San Ramon. We've got the same crime rate we've had since I was in the council on average. And this is an expensive proposition. This is 5 police officers. So this is not some inexpensive proposition. And I thought we were going to spend $600,000 or $700,000, and we're doubling that. There's been significant scope creep on this, and 3 systems means it's 9 times as complicated, because you got 3 systems that somehow are going to eventually have to interact with each other, right? And somebody's going to have to do that. So I'm just, I know we're going to proceed with this, but I don't like the way the scope creeped on this, because this is a long ways from where this started out, and our waiting actually helped, because I'm sure that because a better system came along. So I am concerned about that, but enough said. I understand what we're doing.
I also would like to go to public comment. So would it be appropriate at this stage to go to public comment and circle back for more comments from council? Great. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody who would like to comment?
Yes, we have received one written comment, as well as it looks like there is one person raising their hand to speak. For everyone else in attendance, if you would like to speak on this item, please click the raise your hand button at the bottom of the screen or dial *9 on your telephone. I'll go ahead and start with the written comment first, and then we'll give them enough time to raise their hand. This item was received from Richard DeWoff. As a longtime resident of San Ramon, I have long advocated to have tools that effectively assist the police and other services to reduce or stop crime. The ALPR is such a tool to be able to track suspect vehicles on public thoroughfares. I will want to learn more about the privacy and usage plan, but advocate for installing these cameras as soon as possible when approved. This is a step in the right direction for keeping San Ramon a place that people want to live and enjoy. And then it looks like we have 3 requests to speak. And we'll start with Kumar Nalasamy.
So, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and City Council and everybody. I was listening very carefully. This is a great project great place to live, San Ramon. I really hats up to the police department bringing this one. And second question I have, how many camera close enough to school? Because I always look for a school close by. I want to making sure the children are very well protected also, because a lot of time, the 2 things is, one is the camera is there is a 25% of the criminals out. Oh, we will be in trouble. The other part is we want to making sure how we capture everything clearly. That is the one. And I was listening, Mr. Bill. So the cost wise, yeah, I think we need to look at it, making sure I do make a comment. We can look at it. There are a lot of vendors, but I don't know. Already they might have looked at it. But again, my strong recommendation is please bring it as soon as possible. That's very important. Thank you again. Really appreciated your great work for the city.
Thank you, Kumar.
The next public speaker is Brandon Haddad.
Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to thank everybody for their time and their presentations this evening. I'm with Edgeworth Security, and I just wanted to voice my support. And if there are any technical questions, I'm happy to answer those. And I know a question around the ongoing support was brought up. And I think it's important that you guys know the Vigilant system and the Avigilon situational awareness system are both Motorola solution companies. So as far as the systems talking to each other, they are integratable. And they both come with, well, the Avigilon comes with a 3-year advanced replacement warranty. So you're covered for the first 3 years. I think it's important that you guys know that. And as far as the software goes, Avigilon has no ongoing support fees. Their software is actually supported for the life of the product. So if there's any questions, I am happy to answer.
Great, thank you very much.
If I can ask, while since he knows Bill, you're telling me, I think I just heard that this product is scalable?
It's fully scalable. So we do the city of Livermore and several other cities. And as far as cameras go, you have an unlimited amount that you can connect to the system. It can grow from what it is now to thousands of cameras. Does that answer your question as far as scalability goes?
Great.
And the H5 line of Avigilon's cameras actually come with a 5-year warranty. So you're covered for 3 to 5 years right out of the bat.
Thank you, Brandon. Madam Clerk, next speaker.
The next speaker is Joyce Carr. Joyce?
All right, can you hear me? This is Greg Carr. I'm on Joyce's computer, so it comes through as her. Apologize for that. Couldn't help but overhear this, and I just have to shake my head. You're going to spend $1 million+ in some annual maintenance fee to put in cameras to catch speeders, and it uses 5G. Well, the speeders, whatever, Bill, I don't really care. It's a lot of, money. It's a toy for the police, and we don't need it in this town. And Phil, you voiced opposition to it, but then after you do all that, you say, well, it's going to happen anyway. Well, it doesn't have to happen, Phil. You could vote against it. So it just seems really troubling that you just have this thing fly through to provide the cops some more toys for them to, oversee things. And I'm sure it might help, but it's a lot of money in a town that doesn't have a big problem. If we ever really have a problem like Oakland in the future, okay, maybe that would justify spending it, but I don't see that now. So I'm extremely disappointed, and I hear that the connection system for it is 5G, and it's going to be at the end of Norris on both ends. And that's why they have been running cable down in the conduits that they installed some time back. So I would suggest you rethink it. You don't have to buy the damn thing now. Do it later.
And this, I'm going to add to Joyce. Good evening. It goes along with the comment that I made, a public comment the first time today, was making decisions on big things like this when you're not in the council chambers and people are not there, and a lot of people probably aren't listening to this, but I'm sitting here very upset about hearing this 5G again with these health risks that nobody's given us a good study on. And so please, this can just not be passed when people in this town do not know that this is going on. I think safety is important, but why we're adding the 5G and all this extra money, it's not fair. It's not fair to us. And again, health problems in my family continue. And I know health problems in a lot of families exist, and it's not fair to us. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Joyce. Madam Clerk, any other public comments?
No, that was the last request to speak.
Okay, then I will close the public comment and open it up. I know that I saw a number of councilmen had hands up. I'll start with Sabina.
Sorry, I was on mute. So I think one of the things we were talking about not seeing a lot of crime. We actually did see a lot of crime a couple of months ago, and I think all of our emails and phones and everything was ringing when people were, and we made it to the media that said San Ramon crime doubled in just 1 month. So crime was certainly starting to surge. And I was sitting with a number of neighbors. I actually asked Craig to respond to a neighborhood group who said, we will bring our own cameras and we'll put in our own neighborhood if you guys cannot put your own cameras. So it's certainly happening. Our population is steadily growing. I've spent a lot of time walking during this time, and Doherty Valley seems to be getting bigger and bigger. And so we are becoming quite a large city, and we may not have seen the numbers before, but what we saw a couple of months, well, not a couple of months ago, I think it was in December, because then we've been in lockdown for a while. I've lost concept of time, but what we saw in, I believe, November, December, please correct me if I'm wrong, but when our numbers really doubled, and there were a lot of concerns. My neighbor has a camera that, he kind of monitors the court, and he at least sends out a video once a month with somebody either coming in and trying to open all our mailboxes. Somebody actually once opened his car, slept in that for half an hour, and then, went out. So he, every month he catches something on that camera. So it's certainly something I think which is going to allow us to augment. There might be some crime that we didn't see earlier. We're obviously seeing all the package crime and all of that. And if you have a Nest camera outside your house, you'll generally get an update from the neighbors that are willing to share some of those. So, I think this is going to be a long-term investment. My understanding is, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is all going to be updated. It's more of a SaaS product now, and it's not something that's going to require us to do physical updates. So we don't have costs associated with that. But, and for the Iron Horse Trail, Scott and Dave, you were talking about, maybe this is something we need to take up with East Bay Regional, all the 5 cities that are on that board, and, have them treat Iron Horse Trail as something which East Bay Regional partners with the local cities to take care of. So just those are my comments.
I saw some other hands that may have been risen. Dave, Scott, or Phil?
Yeah, I'm not looking tonight to add the Iron Horse Trail. I just wanted to point it out because we also have a development that may be coming along, and you make it as a condition of approval. And you see how this works first. I know of the creep that a member alone was talking about, but for some reason, I was thinking it was going to cost this much 3 years ago, so it isn't as big a surprise. I think that our task tonight was pretty well sealed when every other city around us did this. It's like, you don't want to be the place where people go because it's the safe place to commit these crimes. Now, whether or not that's valid or not, we're never going to know. But I know things are changing as far as the traffic pattern. So I brought up the Iron Horse Trail and bikes. And I know that initially the police force, I didn't think wanted this or felt that it was going to give you the value for the dollar that we were looking at or are looking at tonight. So I don't want to put it on them as it's not a toy. It was something that just sort of grew into it as all of us, Danville, Dublin, Livermore, matured into this. I think I was with Livermore when we looked at the police expo they had back at Washington, D.C. when I filled in for the mayor, and they were talking about this, and it was pretty exciting at the time. I think we need to go ahead with this. I understand the trepidations. I don't think this is something that the police took lightly. I think that they've added it to all of the other things that are in our toolbox. And I think the citizens will be better off for it. If we're wrong, they'll let us know at the ballot box.
Can I add something real quick just to clarify?
Sure.
So I just wanted to be clear. I did say that these cameras are 5G cellular transmission capable, but we currently don't have that. So all the other cameras, they're running off of 4G as well, and that's what they can certainly run off of as well until 5G is available. The other issue about the crime and the, we obviously take this seriously. If you compare us, I heard the comparison to Oakland, we're certainly not at those rates, but we do have crime, unfortunately. And fortunately, the majority of it is property related crimes. However, we still have an obligation to identify the people responsible for those crimes and hopefully take them to jail and deter them from doing it again. And so this is one of many investigative tools, but we are certainly behind the times and running blind in some areas without these cameras, and that technology is now available. And it's a needed addition for our department. And that's just—
Thank you, Kerry.
Right. That's
Scott.
I wanted to bring to people's attention, there's one other thing that adds real value. I was talking to Chief Simpson of Danville about their cameras, and I said, give me an example of something that really made a difference. And he referred to a person who had a protective order. Kerry, what do you call those?
He was a restrained party of a restraining order, domestic violence restraining order.
He was a restrained party. His vehicle was registered in the ALPR system, license plate. Danville got a hit as he's leaving the freeway onto one of their streets, and there was an officer patrolling not far from where the protected party lived. So they immediately went to where the protected party was. They caught the guy violating his restraining order. Now, we'll never know what would have happened had they not been there, had they not had the camera system. But we know that day that that protected party was safer because the camera system existed. I don't know how to put a price on that. And I agree with Phil that this is a little pricier than I thought it was, but I've been asking for this for quite a long time. And while I've been talking with Captain Goldberg and Chief Stevens and others over the years, I'm grateful that the technology has improved as time has gone on, even though there were times when I wish we had this thing a year or 2 years ago. I'm grateful that the technology today is far better than yesterday. And no doubt that technology will be better tomorrow than it is yesterday. So hopefully we can go forward with this. It can make a difference in the safety of our citizens. I would really like to hear from our PD when we solve something or we prevent a crime based on the data we get from this. I would like to hear some actual data or where this helped us solve a problem. But I'm grateful that we're going to be going forward with this. I'm hopeful. Phil, you're exactly right. This is pricier than I thought. But I think it'll serve. You say, you're right. It costs five police officers. This is money that comes from our COP, so we couldn't use that money to pay for police officers. So hopefully this will actually make our detectives and other officers more efficient and in solving crimes.
Sabina, have your hand up.
So just one more of a question maybe from the policy committee. We raised a few things, which you said what these cameras can and cannot do. Do you think we need to put some policy which says this, policy dictates what these cameras are being used for, just so that it's very clear to the public what our motivations behind this is? Again, I don't know, but I kind of wanted to run this by you and see what you thought, or Mayor, if you have suggestions there.
Well, what I'm hearing from Kerry, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that he specifically outlined what the cameras would be used for and what they would not be used for. I'm not sure we have to codify that in a policy, but it was clear language from Kerry what they would be used for and not used for. Am I correct?
You are, Mayor. And the department has a policy outlining what they will and won't be used for as well.
Yes, exactly right.
I had a couple further questions, Bill.
Sure, go ahead, Phil.
Kerry, you referenced sharing data. Can you give me reasons why San Ramon would or would not share data? Who would San Ramon not share data with?
Well, we share data with neighboring agencies and other local Bay Area agencies. We share data. I'll give you an example. Danville, Dublin, Pleasanton. We're not going to be sharing data with ICE. I know that's always been a concern. We currently don't share data. We've had ALPRs in system for the past 7 years that we don't share with them. We control all the data sharing. And obviously that would be vetted all the way up through but we share with other local agencies as well as other state agencies.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Farr referenced SAS, software as a service. I don't know. I mean, every software as a service I've ever been involved with, you pay for the service. So why would an SAS mean you're not paying for a service?
Are you?
I just don't. I mean, you throw a technology term out there. I know what it means, and I know that I pay for SAS systems. So I don't understand why that means it's free.
So no, I meant to say it's a standard license, I think, agreement that we signed. Again, that's what my understanding was from when we had the presentation earlier.
So it's a standard license agreement, and there's maintenance attached to it, right? At some point, Kerry, isn't there? Isn't there?
So for the three different
maintenance on this, isn't it?
So the flock system comes at a standard off-the-shelf price. It's a one-time fee per contract, and that price includes the use of the software. You don't pay a recurring fee per se. You're essentially leasing their equipment.
What if they upgrade? Do they automatically give you the upgrades?
That's included, yes. For
Okay,
the,
thank you.
flags, yes. Same as the Avigilon software. Obviously, if they come out with an entire new software, there will be a small fee associated with that, but minor upgrades and different versions of that current software they have, those get pushed out with no additional fee.
Okay. Well, I would have preferred to see this in an incremental fashion to see what one or two of these systems generated for us, and 2 or 3 years down the pike, see what the next generation of this stuff came out with. Like a 4-lane reader instead of a 2-lane reader. It's probably kind of the next step, which is actually what we need on some of our streets, right? So thank you. I know this was very thorough, and thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Not seeing any council members. Is Madam Clerk? Vote.
Well, you don't have a motion.
Oh, I thought we had a motion. My apologies. Is there a motion?
I can move.
I'll second.
Martin, is it sufficient to simply say I will move?
Or should?
Are we clear on what we're moving?
Thank you. Sabina, please read the motion as you wish.
So
Thank you.
I will move resolution. Wait, since I'm trying to work off of one computer to read this.
Take your time. We're very patient in these times.
It's resolution 2020-0.
34.
There you go. Resolution number 2020-034. I move resolution number 2020-034, authorizing the mayor to execute agreement with Lair Auto Electric, Flock Safety, and Edgeworth Integration LLC for the comprehensive street camera installation project CIP 400002 in amount not to exceed $179,727, amount $210,000, and amount $650,000 respectively, and appropriating an additional $277,027 from the 2019 Certificates of Participation Project Fund to CIP 400002 for a total of $1.277027.
I'm sorry, Sabina, I didn't get that. Can you repeat that?
You have to put million. If you use 1.2, you have to say million.
1.2 million. I said 1.277027. All right. 1.2 million with 700.
Is there a second to that particular motion?
Second.
Yeah.
Mr. Perkins has seconded that. Again, any other discussion? See no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Councilmember Hudson.
Aye.
Councilmember Alone.
Aye.
Councilmember Perkins.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Zafar.
Yes.
And Mayor Clarkson.
Aye.
Resolution number 2020-034 passed 5-0. Item 13, city manager comments.
Okay, we're almost done. So just a reminder that council last week passed the San Ramon Business Assistance Program strategy. We have our contractors on board, and you can expect they're currently working out the details, and we're hopefully expect to have a webinar available by early next week. The other significant point of interest, it seems, is that the San Ramon's Farmers Market is in full swing. They've gone to kind of a touchless online ordering. We, the city, promoted the farmers market a couple weeks ago, and it had such a great response that their website actually crashed. So they've made the appropriate adjustments, and they've seemed to be they're really doing it right regarding how they're doing business. They're maintaining the social distancing and all the necessary safety precautions. They're working on touchless strategies where you can order online and you just pull up and they'll even just pop their hatch. You can pop your hatchback and they'll put it right in the back of your car and shut your hatchback and you can drive along. So we're pretty pleased to see that take place. And as you know, we're continuing to monitor the current health order. I was hopeful that the order update would be out today. I don't think it made it out today. I haven't checked yet. So I expect hopefully maybe they'll have their updated order out tomorrow. I was told in some of the meetings that I've attended that this updated order would be out early this week. So I'm assuming it'll hopefully happen here shortly so we can better understand the exact parameters of the order. That's it for me.
Thank you, Joe. Madam Clerk.
Item 14, public comment.
Items that are not on the agenda. Anybody in the audience like to make a comment?
For those watching, if you'd like to raise your hand by clicking the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or selecting *9 on your telephone.
And these for those who have not spoken on public comment this meeting.
It looks like we have no requests to speak.
Very good, thank you. We'll close public comment. Next item.
I think I just saw a hand raised.
Got one, yeah.
Joyce Carr.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Okay. Where do I begin? We've just had so much talk about 5G and here it comes again. The police officer did say 4G would be something they could do. How can I find out if they can, in fact, have them 4G rather than 5G?
Okay, because of the Brown Act, council cannot respond, but I'm sure staff knows how to get a hold of you, Joyce, and we'll be happy to follow up and answer that question for you. Would that be suffice?
I would appreciate someone getting a hold of me as soon as possible. I really would.
Okay, Joyce, thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Uh-huh.
Anybody else have their hand up?
Nope, it looks like that was the only one.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and close public comment.
Item 15, city council member and mayor's comments.
Great. I'll start with Scott, go to Dave, then Phil, and Sabina. Scott.
Okay. There was a TVTC, Tri-Valley Transportation Council meeting last week. We hired Myers Nave as our legal counsel. They've been our legal counsel for a number of years, and so they will continue. We felt it was a bad time to change legal representation. We hired Kimley Horn. Dave, you know Kimley Horn. Kimley Horn's done a lot of work in transportation all throughout the Bay Area. They are going to do our Nexus study and our fee guideline handbook. Cost of the contract is $172,000. We also set new Tri-Valley Transportation development fees. We increased all of them except retail is fixed and has not been raised since we established the newest version. Gosh, it's been about 8 years ago. Also, the ADUs pay $0 and affordable housing pays $0, but all others raised by about 5%. And that was our Tri-Valley Transportation Council. That's all I got.
Great. Dave.
Here. Yeah, two quick things. I want to focus on, but first I have to say kudos to Candace Daniels. She caught somebody impersonating Joe Gorton asking for money. You may want to elaborate on that a little later. I'm getting calls first about praise from the city for opening the back gate at Walt Disney. That praise has just gone south as, I don't know who did it, I sure hope it isn't the city, welded the gate shut. And those people are about ready to tear it down. So I don't know what we can do or did or where it stands, but we better get that thing open or we're going to have major problems.
I'll just touch on that. We've received that. The city has done nothing to, has not welded the gate shut, is not doing anything to address that. That was the school district's actions. I have some inquiries in as to where they stand with that and a request to reopen that that gate. We'll see where that lands. It just came out today, so I can't really update you any more than that.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Dave. Phil.
I'd just like to thank city manager, city staff for all the work that they've had to put in for these sorts of changes, but just life in the last month plus. And I want to thank the community as well for their patience and cooperation. This is our San Ramon's been remarkable in that regard, and thank you to everybody. That's it.
Thank you, Phil. Sabina.
So we had a Traffics meeting last week. Traffics is basically provides bus service to some of the schools in our in the San Ramon Valley School District, and it's a combination of San Ramon, Danville, Alamo. So part of Traffics was that we did decide to reimburse the drivers. Traffics decided to reimburse the drivers till the end of the school year, or not reimburse, I mean, pay the drivers till the end of the school year. And then what we also decided was that we will reimburse the students money which they are not able to use from the 17th of March till the end of the school year. So Traffics has had a healthy reserve balance and we were in a good position. So those were the two things we did with Traffics. I guess I was hoping we'd get some more detail on, the extension from the health officers, which seems like it will go on till the end of May, but we'll get more details on what that looks like exactly. I was just looking at the board and we have 33 cases in San Ramon and 45 plus 100,000. So San Ramon as a city is doing fairly well compared to other Contra Costa cities. But I think we all understand now we've been 6 weeks into this. It starts getting to you. One of the things that's kept me sane, and I continue to be grateful. And I thank all the other council members for this, because you've been doing this and taking care of our open spaces. One of the best things about this whole, shelter in place has been, being able to just walk out the door and being able to hike in our open spaces. And that's been a blessing. And I've been taking pictures and posting, and my friends are like, where are you? Where do you pay? I mean, people from all over the world, they're like, where are you? And cities and places are not as fortunate. So, I really, really feel like that's helped me kind of keep my sanity. And I'm starting to see so many people, like I've seen people with their grocery bags walking up Bollinger and things like that. So I was just saying to Dave, I'm like, all the things we talked about, wanting people to be a walkable, bikeable city, it seems like, some people are starting to do that. So again, just like adding on to Phil said, we really have to be thankful to everybody. People are really obeying the law and, being very careful. The day that mask order came in, it was like the entire city had masks on. And, it was interesting to see cloth masks and homemade masks or whatever face coverings. Yeah. So, we are lucky in that, we've been really good about obeying the law, and I would say just hopefully a little bit longer. There are days, I've had my days where I'm like, okay, where can I go and what can I do? But it is what it is. So thank you, appreciate, hope everybody's staying safe.
Do I have to come into City Hall?
Yeah.
I did go into City Hall. Snuck up.
This Friday for the weekly sort of breakfast broadcast that we're having going out to the residents, Joe will be on to give an update to the residents about what's been going on in the city. Chief Stevens will be there also to give an update on what's happened. He was there a month ago. Candace Anderson will be also reporting, and she's been very helpful every week to give us the latest update from the health officer, who essentially is dictating to the residents, how to go about doing stuff. I asked two of our utilities, East Bay Mud and also PG&E, to come in and talk to us about any issues they're having and assurance they can maintain the service. And I know they're each dealing with some challenges, and so they're going to talk to us about what they're doing to do that. And then the last thing is Townsend, who we hired last week to help our businesses navigate the process of through this difficult time. They've agreed to come on also on Friday and to explain what they're doing. And then most importantly, we always leave time at the end for residents to ask questions, and that usually goes on for 10 to 15 minutes. And usually it's pretty useful to see what questions they ask and to fill in information that we've forgotten. So again, thank you to Joe and to Steven Sadowski for coordinating that and running that and then recording it so people can see it later on. So that's all I have. Madam Clerk.
Item 16, adjournment.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yay.
All those in favor?
Was I unmuted?
All those in favor signify by clicking off.